If you're going toe-to-toe with evil, you're going to want a great partner to back you up. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 unforgettable horror movie couples.
I wouldn't marry you if you had the body of G.I. Joe.
Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're looking at the most celebrated couples the horror movie genre has to offer. They can fight for each other or against each other, but they have to be a real couple. So any Clarice and Hannibal shippers out there are out of luck.
I've waited, Clarice, but how long can you and old Jackie boy wait?
Also, we'll be covering some plot details, so a spoiler alert is in order.
Why did you want to kill Brundle? The baby might be all that's left of the real me.
Number 10. Sam Loomis and Marion Crane, Psycho.
Why don't you call your boss and tell him you're taking the rest of the afternoon off?
One of the most iconic horror flicks in history starts off more like a classic romance. She was a working girl. He was a divorcee and hardware store owner. Very much in love, but without much money, they were unsure if it could work. One afternoon, Marion steals the money they need. And that's where it all takes a dark turn, as Marion is murdered in a lonely country motel. Although she and Sam only have one scene together, they're a memorable couple. Not least of all because of how risque their moment as an unmarried couple was considered at the time, as Janet Leigh was in nothing but lingerie.
Oh, we can see each other. We can even have dinner. But respectably.
Number 9. Ash and Linda, The Evil Dead.
This kind of looks like your old girlfriend.
This all-American couple could not have chosen a worse spring break getaway.
Well, it might not be that bad.
No.
Actually, it might be kind of nice.
Yeah.
While they start off in love, things take an ugly turn after they uncover an ancient evil. First, Ash's sister is possessed by the malevolent spirits, and then, after being stabbed in the ankle with a pencil, Linda. Ash does his best to save Linda, as she seems to flicker back and forth to her real self. But ultimately, there is nothing to be done. Now a deadite, Ash finds himself at odds with Linda and fighting for his life. Not quite as crazy as his future, or past, rendezvous with Sheila, but wild nonetheless. Ash, you have a type.
You found me beautiful once.
Honey, you got real ugly.
Number 8. Micah and Katie, Paranormal Activity. Another couple dealing with a serious possession problem, this is a classic example of why communication is so important in a relationship. If your significant other says to leave the demonic spirit in your house alone, you leave it the hell alone. But of course, then we wouldn't have had a movie.
So this could be like a really rare phenomenon, and it's cool we got it on tape.
They are a pretty typical couple, but weird things begin to happen in their house. Ignoring Katie's requests, Micah begins to film the strange activity, but in doing so only feeds the negative energies and makes matters so much worse. By the time Micah's ready to leave the house, it's already too late. Number 7. Oskar and Eli, Let the Right One In. Not your typical couple, this is young love, but with a twist. When Oskar, a lonely and disturbed little boy, finally makes a friend, he could never have imagined that she would come with a particular set of rules and fangs.
Hur gammal är du? 12. Ungefär.
While Eli is initially reluctant, their friendship grows as they begin to spend more time together, exchanging games, messages, and puzzles. It soon becomes clear that they have a great deal in common and are willing to do anything to protect one another. Number 6. Jonathan and Mina Harker and Count Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Speaking of vampires, we would be remiss if we didn't mention the granddaddy of all supernatural romances.
The luckiest man who walks on this earth is the one who finds true love.
We are of course talking about the love triangle between Mina, Jonathan, and Dracula. It begins when Jonathan visits Dracula, but becomes trapped in the castle after the Count sees a picture of Harker's fiancée. Dracula leaves for London, gets pretty, and falls in love with Mina, who is likewise more interested in him than her boring fiancé. Jonathan comes back a shell of himself. And oh, the drama. Ultimately, Mina loves the original Caped Crusader more, but must kill him in order to save his soul. Who's star-crossed now, Edward and Bella? Number 5. Seth Brundle and Veronica Ronnie Quaife, The Fly. Can't a girl meet a nice, attractive guy without him turning into a hideous mutant these days?
My teleporter turned her into a jeans splicer.
Meeting at a press event, Seth and Veronica hit it off, enjoying intellectual conversations and great sex. Even after Seth accidentally mixes his DNA with that of a housefly and starts to change, Veronica sticks around and still loves him.
I'm scared.
But when Seth begins to lose his mind and proposes that they meld bodies, Veronica knows it's all gone too far. Although The Fly is one of the finest body horror films out there, at its center is a heartbreakingly tragic romance. Poor Brundlefly. Number 4. Billy Loomis and Sidney Prescott, Scream. It's always the boyfriend. Or is it really? Yes. Or maybe not?
Surprise, Sidney.
The great thing about this genre game changer was that it always kept you guessing. Sidney and Billy, along with all their friends, are being stalked by the masked killer Ghostface. Self-aware and smart, the film plays with tropes throughout. The biggest twist of all, of course, is that the final girl has been dating the killer all along.
See, it's a lot scarier when there's no motive, Sid.
It's too bad because Sidney and Billy were actually a pretty cute couple, giving off a strong Joey Potter and Dawson Leary vibe. We guess in this case, though, one of them actually couldn't wait for at least one life to be over. Number 3. The Monster and the Monster's Bride, Bride of Frankenstein.
She's alive! Alive!
She might be the bride of Frankenstein's monster, but boy is she not happy about it. Just because you are literally made for someone does not mean that you were figuratively made for them.
Woman. Friend. Yes. I want friend. Like me.
The two monsters spend almost no time together, and that's probably for the best. Sometimes it just isn't meant to be. The monster is none too pleased by this final rejection, however, and decides that maybe the afterlife just isn't worth living anymore. As for Herr Dr. Frankenstein and his bride, they flee to safety. Now, if only Elizabeth could just convince Harry to stick to projects with about 100% fewer corpses. Number 2. Jack and Wendy Torrance, The Shining.
Whenever you come in here and interrupt me, you're breaking my concentration.
The duo in this classic Kubrick outing could probably use a session or two of couples counseling.
Here's Johnny!
A recovering alcoholic and struggling writer, Jack, already an emotionally distant partner, slowly begins to lose himself to the evils lurking within the Overlook Hotel. Wendy, though she tries her best, has her hands full with their telepathic son, and just can't seem to pull her husband back from the brink of insanity.
I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains.
Yes, marriage can be hard work, but sometimes you've got to dial back the intensity. After all, we know what all work and no play does, right?
Wendy, listen. Let me out of here and I'll forget the whole goddamn thing. It'll be just like nothing ever happened.
Before we unveil our number 1 pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
You know what? I will bet you anything it's genetic.
It's so dark. Take me inside.
Come on, this is why we came here.
Sean, look at me. I can't begin to imagine how hard this must be for you. But we can't afford to fall apart.
Number 1. Ed and Lorraine Warren, The Conjuring franchise.
What do people call you?
Well, we've been called demonologists. It's one name for us. Ghost hunters, paranormal researchers.
Kooks.
What makes this couple so great? Well, they're real, so that's a plus. Based on the real-life paranormal researchers, Ed and Lorraine's film counterparts are no less interesting. Smart, totally in love, and as devoted to their work as they are to each other, it seems there's nothing this pair can't handle when they work as a team.
I don't think I can sleep this far away from you.
Well, you're gonna. It'll give you something to look forward to when we get home.
And you'd need support when tackling some of the problems in their chosen field. From demons to haunted dolls, there's no witch too evil and no spook too scary. Forget the Ghostbusters, we know who we'd call.
Tries to undo everything we've done.
Could you please take a breath?
I know. I'm counting to 10. Counting to 10.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Ms. Mojo and subscribe for new videos every day.